Next I represent for the baddest DJ. Him a lock down the whole place.
Easy going with my people, hey. Chilling with my brother sitting there. Friend, we go, will you take my hand?
Good day everyone. Today, I will discuss what I learned in week 1 to week 4. So we'll start in
Anticyclone. Anticyclone is a weather phenomenon defined as a large-scale circulation of winds around a central region of higher atmospheric pressure, clockwise in the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. Effects of surface-based anticyclones include clearing skies as well as cooler, drier air. Trough. A trough is an elongated region of relatively low atmospheric pressure without a closed isobaric contour that will define it as low pressure area. Trough may be at the surface or aloft. Ridge. A ridge or barometric ridge is a term in meteorology describing an elongated area of relatively high atmospheric pressure compared to the surrounding environment without being a closed circulation. A ridge is also called the opposite of a trough. Col. A col is called a saddle point or neutral point. It is a meteorology the point of intersection of a trough and a ridge. In the pressure pattern of a weather map, a col is a region where the position of highs and lows produces a convergence or divergence of the airflow. This includes two juxtaposed highs and two juxtaposed lows. This pattern packs isotherms and moisture. Warm air is advected from the south, while cold air comes from the north at the point called Z. During the second week of our finals, I learned about the coding and decoding of messages. Though for me it is the hardest lesson because it has a lot of codes that you have to understand, and each code has its corresponding information. So when I made the assignment in coding and decoding, it really takes me a lot of time to understand the given situation. But I always refer to this example that our instructor gave. And also, I learned how to read the symbols and colors on the weather maps. Example is this one. The large letters blue H and red L's on the weather maps indicate high and low pressure centers. They mark where the air pressure is highest and lowest relative to the surrounding air, are often labeled with 3 or 4 digit pressure reading in millibars. Also, the types of forecasting methods. The first one is persistence forecasting. It is said to be the simplest method in forecasting. In persistence forecasting, weather is assumed to be static or will not change for a little while. But there are some locations that persistence forecasting does not work well because of the temperature. The second one is trend forecasting. Trend forecasting is more reliable and versatile method of short-term forecasting. It involves the assumption that a current tendency or trend will continue or that observed cycle will repeat. The third one is synoptic weather forecasting. Synoptic weather forecasting is done by gathering weather informations of large regions from observed and repeated data at numerous stations. It can be compared to analog communications in which variables can change continuously. During our last week discussion, I learned how a hurricane and typhoons are named. And also, I learned that each institution has its own area of responsibilities. Here are the examples.